The cryogenic pod's emergency protocols kicked in with a violent hiss, flooding Leo's lungs with oxygen-rich gel that tasted like copper and regret. His eyes snapped open to the familiar titanium ceiling of the Epsilon Traverse, but something was catastrophically wrong. The hibernation cycle shouldn't have ended for another 7 months, not until they reached the Andromeda Gateway. His neural implant flickered to life, displaying vital statistics across his field of vision. Heart rate elevated, core temperature rising from 2.3 degrees Celsius, cognitive function compromised, and then the weight registered. Something or someone was lying across his chest and arms. Leo's training screamed at him to remain still. First rule of deep space exploration: assess before action. His eyes tracked downward, and his breath caught in his throat for reasons that had nothing to do with the residual cryogenic fluid. The being resting against him was unlike anything in the xenobiological databases. Her skin, if it could be called that, shifted between translucent pearl and deep obsidian, responding to some internal rhythm he couldn't comprehend. Geometric patterns traced themselves across her form, mathematical sequences that hurt to look at directly. She was roughly humanoid, perhaps 2 meters tall when standing, with elongated limbs that seemed to fold in ways that defied Euclidean geometry. And she was asleep, on him, using his frozen arms as a pillow. Bella, the AI whispered through his neural link. Designation, unknown. Biometric classification, impossible. Threat level, incalculable. Leo wanted to laugh at the AI's helplessness, but his diaphragm was still partially frozen. Instead, he focused on the alien, on Bella, as the ship's AI had apparently decided to name her. The designation protocols usually drew from mythological databases, but Bella seemed deliberately gentle, almost ironic. Her breathing, if that's what the rhythmic expansion and contraction of her torso could be called, matched the pulse of distant stars visible through the observation port. Leo's astrophysics background kicked in automatically. He recognized the pattern. PSRJ 174824446 AD, a millisecond pulsar 20,000 light-years from Earth, rotating 716 times per second. She was synchronized with a pulsar. How long? Leo subvocalized to the AI. 13 hours since emergency wake protocol initiated. The entity boarded through the quantum shielding at 3:47 hours. Defensive systems proved irrelevant. That should have terrified him. The Epsilon Traverse carried military-grade protection systems capable of vaporizing asteroids. Whatever Bella was, she'd walked through them like morning mist. Why didn't you wake me immediately? The AI hesitated, a full 3-second pause that spoke volumes about its confusion. She requested you remain in stasis until natural wake cycle completion. Her method of communication bypassed all known linguistic frameworks. I complied. Leo studied her face more carefully. Despite the alien architecture of her features, eyes that seemed to contain miniature galaxies, a mouth that existed in probability rather than fixed position, there was something unmistakably deliberate about how she'd arranged herself. Her head rested in the crook of his right arm. Her hand, 4 fingers, each ending in what looked like crystallized starlight, lay gently against his chest, directly over his heart. This wasn't an attack position, this was trust. Environmental readings, he commanded. The data flooded in. The ship's interior atmosphere had been subtly altered. Oxygen levels increased by 2.3%. Trace elements of exotic particles that shouldn't exist outside the event horizon of a black hole permeated the air. The temperature had risen exactly 4.7 degrees, enough to accelerate his thawing without causing cellular damage. She'd been taking care of him. Bella stirred and Leo's heart hammered against his ribs. Those galaxy eyes opened, and he found himself falling into them, not metaphorically, but literally. His consciousness touched something vast and ancient, an intelligence that had watched civilizations rise and fall like tides. And then she smiled. The expression translated across the gulf of their differences with perfect clarity: amusement, affection, and a bone-deep exhaustion that Leo recognized from his own reflection after months of deep space solitude. "You're awake," she said, though her mouth didn't move. The words formed directly in his mind, carrying harmonics of meaning that human language couldn't capture. "I apologize for the intrusion, Leo Castellan. Your species doesn't have a protocol for what I am about to request. You know my name. I know everything the quantum foam remembers about you. Your first word, your mother's lullaby, the equation you discovered at 17 that won't be understood by human mathematics for another 3 centuries. She shifted, and Leo felt his arms respond to his commands again. She'd released whatever hold had kept him immobilized. "I needed rest, true rest, and your kind dreams in ways my species forgot millennia ago." Leo sat up slowly, and Bella moved with fluid grace to give him space while remaining close. Through the observation port, he could see they'd drifted off course. The navigation systems showed they were in a region of space that didn't exist on any star chart. "What are you?" The question felt inadequate. "Your language has no word. Queen is the closest approximation your AI could manage," she gestured, and the stars outside rearranged themselves into a 3-dimensional map of incomprehensible complexity. "I am a shepherd of entropy, a gardener of collapsing wave functions. I ensure certain quantum probabilities collapse in favorable directions for civilizations that show promise. And you chose my arms because..." For the first time, Bella looked uncertain, an expression that sat strangely on features that could reshape reality. "Because you are the first human I've encountered who doesn't fear the dark between stars. You embrace it, sleep within it, dream within it. Your unconscious mind sings to the void and the void sings back." She reached out, her crystalline fingers stopping just short of touching his face. "I have not truly rested in 7,000 of your years. War against entities you cannot comprehend. Holding back tides of uncreation. And then I found you, frozen and dreaming, and for the first time since my species ascended I felt safe." The revelation hit Leo like a solar wind. This impossible being, this creature that could walk through quantum shielding and rearrange stars, had needed him. Not his knowledge or his ship or his species' potential, just him, Leo, as a safe harbor in an incomprehensible existence. "Did I disturb your rest?" Bella asked, and there was genuine concern in the question. Leo looked at his arms, still tingling from where she'd lain against them. He thought about the loneliness of deep space, the crushing isolation that drove some explorers mad. He thought about connection in all its strange forms. "No," he said quietly, "you didn't disturb it, but I think you changed it." Bella's smile returned, warmer this time, more human. "Your species will make first contact with my kind in 43 years. It will not go well unless certain variables align differently. I have been trying to adjust those variables, but the work is exhausting and I needed..." She paused, searching for words. "An anchor, someone who wouldn't be afraid, someone who could accept impossibility and still offer kindness." "You could have chosen anyone." "No," Bella said firmly. "I could only choose you. The quantum foam showed me every human consciousness in this sector. You were the only one dreaming of home while simultaneously embracing exile. The only one who could hold contradictions without breaking." Leo stood, his legs shaky but functional. Through the port, the rearranged stars were slowly returning to their proper positions. "Will you stay?" "For a time, I have much to teach you if you're willing, about the true nature of spacetime, about the civilizations that rise in the spaces between moments, about why humanity matters in a universe that pretends it doesn't." She rose beside him, towering yet somehow not threatening. "And perhaps when the exhaustion returns you might allow me to rest again, in safety, in your arms." Leo extended his hand, a human gesture, inadequate for the moment but all he had. Bella looked at it, then at him, understanding flowing between them like quantum entanglement. She took his hand, her touch warm despite the crystalline appearance. Partners then, she said, in the work ahead. Partners, Leo agreed. And outside, the stars wheeled onward, indifferent to the impossible friendship forming aboard the Epsilon Traverse, a connection that would, in time, reshape the trajectory of two species and prevent a war that hadn't yet begun. But for now, in this moment, it was simply two beings finding unexpected comfort in the vast darkness of space, finding home in the most unlikely of places. The end.